as inventory has continued to come down, as the market in and of itself has become more and more competitive, buyers are trying to find ways to make their offer more appealing to sellers. One of the most aggressive ways they can do that for folks that are going to get a mortgage is to waive the financing contingency, to waive the appraisal contingency. So what I mean by that is, if you look at the contract, it says, hey, we're going to get a mortgage. This purchase is contingent upon us getting a mortgage. And our contract in South Carolina, I'll tell you, I can't get on a soapbox because I don't have time about it, but it is extremely buyer friendly. It doesn't do many favors for the seller. One example of that is in the financing contingency in the actual contract. It literally says the financing contingency expires at closing. So what that really means is that if you're a buyer and at any point in time, even a day before closing, the lender says, hey, sorry, you know what? Can't get you financing. My bad. Then you as the buyer get to say, hey, seller, sorry, can't get financing. My bad. And you have the right to get your earnest money back. I mean, it's incredible that a seller can go through this process, line up, moving, start to pack their home. And then the day before closing, the lender says, yeah, actually, we can't get them financed. And you think about it. You think about the likelihood of that happening. It's not all that far off. I mean, think about how incredibly busy lenders are right now, how busy agents are. Everybody's trying to do the best they can with the market in the current condition it's in. And so what we have discovered is that providing that seller with peace of mind that, hey, this deal is going to close no matter what. As soon as we get through the inspection, if we can, we'll see what happens with the inspection. We'll do some separate negotiating there. But once that happens, barring some sort of natural disaster or something horrible happening, we're closing on this property. We're able to do that because of this program that I've been connected with, which has some pretty deep pockets. They've got $200 million that they can play with here. And so here's how this works. Let's say that you're a buyer. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're a buyer and you're getting an FHA loan, which is 3.5% down. So you're financing the vast majority of that purchase. Now, let's say that a property is listed for $300,000, and you offer $310,000, $10,000 above the asking price. Is there a likelihood that the property will appraise for less than the contract amount? Well, yes, there's always a likelihood or a chance that will happen. But then what is the likelihood that the buyer has enough cash on hand to be able to make up the difference between the appraised amount and the contract amount? Because if an appraisal comes in for less than the contract amount, you as a buyer have to make up that difference in cash. And of course, it's a separate point of negotiation. You can always try and get the seller to sell it for less. Most sellers in this market aren't doing that. They might negotiate with you a little bit. Most won't. So you as the buyer have to be liquid enough to come to the table with additional cash on top of your down payment, on top of your closing costs, on top of the cost of the inspection and some of the other out-of-pocket costs that you might incur, like an appraisal. So what buyers have been doing is they've been waiving the financing contingency through this program because this program says, hey, no matter what, we will close on this property, even if we have to pay cash for it. This program will literally buy that property for cash. Now, for them to give that seller the promise that this will close cash no matter what, which makes you as the buyer appear as though you are a cash buyer, is just 1%. Just 1%. If you're a buyer in this market and you're out there waiving financing contingencies in order to get your deal accepted, which is becoming more and more commonplace, if you don't get financing, you're going to lose your earnest money, which is 1% to 2% of the purchase price anyways. So you might as well go through this program and appear to the seller as though, hey, guess what? No matter what, this deal is going to close. If I can't get a mortgage in time, this company will buy it for cash. And it just costs you 1%. Now, if they actually have to buy it, then they'll buy it, and then they'll just rent the property to you for up to 6 months, and that just costs you 2%. It's incredible to me how creative some of these different programs have become. Think about the person that needs to sell their home and buy another. If you make an offer on that property that you want to buy, you don't have to use a home sale contingency. You can just say, hey, we're going to close on this thing, guaranteed. If we can't close it on time, if I can't sell my home in time, then this company will buy it for cash. Some people are electing to go this route because they want to have this company buy the property for them. They'll pay rent until they close themselves, but it lets them move out of their house, stage it, make it look really nice, and sell it for more than 2% more than what it would typically sell for. Maybe they do a little work to it. And now they've actually made money through this process. They've gotten a guaranteed cash closing. It's only cost them 2%. They sold their property that they were going to sell for more money because now they can treat it like, kind of an actual product rather than live in the process or live in the home and try and renovate while you're living in it and juggling the process of selling and buying, which can be a little cumbersome. And so this process has opened the door for so many people. The folks that don't want to really run the risk of losing the earnest money and not get the house, this guarantees them the house. It just costs them 2%. The folks that need to sell their home, rather than having a seller receive that offer and say, sorry, I'm not waiting around for you to get your home ready and you put your home on the market and you accept an offer and then maybe that deal potentially fall through. But the beauty is, if you go through this program, you can still do those things. You can still go and get your own mortgage and close on time. You can still sell your home and close at or before you buy the new one, and you don't have to pay this company. It's just 1% for that kind of protection, for the guarantee that no matter what, it's going to close for 1%. So it's really been an incredible game changer for my team to allow these people the ability to be a guaranteed cash buyer. Whether you need to sell your home and buy another, or you just want to be the person that the seller chooses in a multiple offer situation. Because what we really don't want to do is we don't want to start waiving so many contingencies that the risk associated with buying a home is unappetizing. So if that's something you'd like to learn more about, we're putting a lot of people through the program right now. It's been incredible. That, on top of the 2.4% listing commission, we're trying to do everything we can to be creative and offer solutions as a real estate company. So if I can walk you through that process, feel free to give me a call, 843-400-8009. That's 843-400-8009. You can check us out online, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or you can send me an email, brian@brianbeattyteam.com. Thanks a lot, Charleston. Enjoy your weekend, and thanks for listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Join us for another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show next Saturday morning at 9 and Sunday morning at 10. Contact Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-400-8009. That's 843-400-8009.